That's not good. I coughed. I'm not sick. Well, with COVID mentally, that's a whole different story. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be cleaning the other. We shot it, and I shot some really dirty ammo through it, some steel case. Took us a while to get it zeroed, so it really needs a good cleaning. I'm a big proponent of shooting it and then cleaning it. While some people like to clean them once in a while, I like to clean them all the time. I even clean guns that I don't shoot just because they've been sitting there for a while. So my philosophy with all of that is, if it's clean and in good working order, it's going to work. If it's dirty, there's more of a potential for it to have some sort of malfunction or a catastrophic malfunction in that moment that I really need it to work. And I don't like taking that chance. In the military, you clean them all the time. You scrub the crap out of them, and they, go through and inspect. And if they're dirty, and well, you know how that goes. You can only imagine. So we're going to do a step-by-step breakdown on how to clean it. We get a lot of people that come in here all the time with others or pre-bans. They buy them at different facilities, so on and so forth, but they don't understand, or they don't know how to maintain it, how to break it down, all the pieces that have to come apart, so on and so forth. So we always take them, we show them, and just make a video, and then we can just point them to the video to watch. Now, there's a million ways to do it. I'm not saying what I do is the right way. You can watch another video, and I'm sure they'll show you how to do it a different way. I'm just showing you what works for me, how I do it. You can always go more in depth and really break it down to parade rest, where you have little screws and nuts and springs everywhere. We're not going to go that psychotic. This is just a basic cleaning that you should do after you've shot it a couple of times, or if you want, right after the range day, so on and so forth. So you might be asking, what are you going to need? Well, there's a lot of things you're going to need, but luckily most of them come in kits. So I brought a few kits out from the store to show you exactly what we buy, and they range in price and items that you're going to get. So you can always buy like a little maintenance toolkit, such as this. It comes with a bunch of tools that you're going to need. Sometimes you'll use them all. Sometimes you might not use any of them for a while. Honestly, I don't have one of these, and I just use normal tools. For cleaning kits, though, you can get a really basic cleaning kit. It comes in a little plastic bag. It's got all the things you're going to need in it, some oil and things like that, and then you'd buy the cleaner separately. You can buy kits. Like, this is an old kit we had on our shelf, but we have kits like this. Lyman's, they make a great kit. This one happens to be for pistols, but we're doing a rifle, so this particular kit right here, not going to work for me. Otis makes some good kits, and they range in different sizes. So like, this is a 223556 kit. It's nice because everything packs up in this tiny little pouch that you can carry with within a backpack, or so when you do range day, if you need to do a quick cleaning for some reason, you can do that. And they got the generic kind. They've got the ones that are like zombies, and like I said, they range in prices. Then of course you need the cleaning stuff. My personal favorite, the one I use, it's what we're going to be using today, is Rand CLP. Hoppies 9, they make some great stuff. Can't go wrong with that. And they have, gun cleaner, bore cleaner, lube, oil. They have MDL, which is your moisture displacement lubricant, WD-40. We got Butch's Bore Shine. You know, like this right here is the bore shine, and you got the gun oil to go along with it. There's tons of products out there. We carry a bunch of them. Different stores carry different things. But there's some basic things that you're going to need. You're going to need some of the cleaning kits, so patches and various other things out of it. You definitely need cleaner. You're going to need probably some sort of weapon grease. So the only reason it's weapon grease is like this brand right here says weapon grease. So you need grease, and you can get grease like this. You can get it in a little package like this. You're gonna need cloth. You can use old t-shirts. You could use lint freeze. You can use shop rags. So you go to Home Depot, you can get those big things of shop rags. You can get like Tetra Gun. These are pre-filled lubricating cloths. They're really soft, and you can get like that. This is a silicone cloth, does the same thing. Otis makes one like that. So you can buy stuff like that, or like I said, you can just use a t-shirt. It really doesn't matter. One thing you're definitely going to need, though, sorry I had to stretch for it, is a pick and brush set. This happens to be by Lyman's, and the nice part about this one is it's all plastic. So it's got a copper brush, nylon brush, but you can see these are plastic dental picks. So dental picks come obviously plastic or metal. I'm always hesitant to take a metal pick and start really digging into certain areas of an AR or any gun for that matter. I don't like it. I'd rather go slow and use the plastic. Obviously, if it's really caked on, then might move up to the metal type, but really take your time. Don't really dig in. Very low pressure on that. And then, of course, instead of using a punch rod and all that, we're just going to use the bore snake. I like bore snakes. We got some people that they don't like them at all. They'd rather use the rod, and you'll see there's two types. There's one long piece of rod where all your stuff screws onto the end, but it's huge. You're not going to be carrying it around with you. You will if you use like black powder or so on and so forth. The one in my cleaning kit, which is right here, it's small. It's got mollies on it, so I can put it on my range bag or my everyday bag. This is a Battleborn bag. I use it so much I've ran out of everything in it. So I've then gone through and refilled everything with, I think, Rand CLP. But I've got a cloth in there, bore snake, all the Rand cleaner stuff, so on and so forth. And you'll see more of it, so I'm going to be pulling this stuff out to clean the other. But the other type of punch you can get is like this. The punch breaks down in sections. So you'll see that assembled, but we're not going to use it because I don't use those. I use the bore snake. The punch is really good, though, if you have maybe like a barrel obstruction. Then you're able to really punch through it. If it's really, really bad, get yourself a gunsmith. And one other thing you're going to need to clean a 5.56, and you might not think about it. I have it. I think it's really important, and that's just my opinion, is you need a 12 gauge cleaner. A little thing like this. So you'll see what the 12 gauge is for. The 12 gauge is used to clean the AR or the other. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go grab the gun and start pulling it apart. And so I'll flip the camera around and go from there. Okay, so now we're going to break it down. One of the things I always like to have is a mat. This particular mat has little channels because this is going to have a lot of small parts. So we don't want to lose any of the parts. Okay, so you want to make sure the bag is empty, obviously. The bolt carrier group is locked back, so I can see inside that there's nothing. All right, so that's good. Now, on this side, there's 2 pins, and we're going to push those pins. All right, and you can see they're right here. And if you can't get your fingers on it, you can always use a tool to pry them out. I'm just going to cheat, and I'm going to use a plastic pen, and I'm just going to push, and I'm going to push, get rid of the pen, and then pull the pin, pull the other pin out, and then it's just going to break apart. Now, these pins are pretty sturdy, but you don't want to take a chance of them breaking off, so I always like to push them back in. Okay, so we're going to set this aside because we don't need that right now, and we're going to worry about this. So you're going to take this, you're going to unlock the charging handle, you're going to slide it back, and this is going to come out, and then this drops down, and you pull that out. Now, if it's really dirty and it's really grimy, I would recommend, so you're not touching stuff, some rubber gloves. So that's why I'm going to put on some rubber gloves, and then we're going to work. Okay. So this can be set off to the side because all your little parts are in here. Okay, so that's where your little picks are going to come in handy. Okay, so these are pretty strong and sturdy. So on the side of the bolt carrier group is a pin. You want to hook the pin. You're going to pull the pin right out. You're going to put it up there. You don't want to lose that pin. The pin will eventually wear out, so it's always good to have spare pins. Okay, so now that that's done, you can hit it, and out comes your firing pin. And you can see how dirty it is. Okay, so put the firing pin there. Now, if you push this back, this right here gets turned 90 degrees, and then you just pull it out. Now, it might be a little hard because of grease, so on and so forth, but after you turn it, it'll pop right out. Put that up there, and then this comes right out. There's some rings here. These rings will eventually wear down, so you want to keep an eye on them. And when you put it back together, there's a way to make sure that the rings are still good. After a few thousand rounds, they might have to be replaced. Right here is where you're going to see a lot of buildup of carbon. There are special tools that you can have to scrape all the carbon off. But since we just started firing this and it's brand new, it's not that bad yet. Okay? So on the bolt carrier group, this little piece right here is your extraction. This has to come out, and there's a pin right here, and it's a really small pin. But if you use this, which is your firing pin, you can get that little pin out. And all you have to do is put some pressure on here and line it up and push, and out will come the pin. And then you should be able to get a grip on it. Now, if it doesn't go all the way, you can come back to your pick and use the pick to push it a little further so you can get a good grip on it. And if it's not coming out easily, then all you have to do is put more pressure on this because it is spring-loaded. There's a little O-ring right here. You're going to want to make sure that O-ring is intact, it's not damaged, so on and so forth. And then we're going to end up cleaning that. So you can see there's a lot of little parts. Okay, you can see how dirty this gets. So I'm a little anal retentive. I have different colored cloths that I try to use for different things. So the first thing that I really like to do is I just like to wipe everything down and see how much stuff I can get off. Because most of the time, a lot of this stuff just wipes clean. Especially if you shoot and then clean it versus shoot and then leave it sitting. Now, the more you shoot it, the more you're going to have buildup. And you're going to have buildup in little areas like right in here, maybe back here. I just wipe them down, and there you go. It's nice and clean. And I try to keep the clean parts separate from the dirty parts. Now, if we're getting into channels like this, sometimes it helps if you take one of these, and you just put it in and rub it clean. And obviously, if it's not getting clean, then you might have to use a little bit of CLP, so on and so forth on it. And these are brand new. Obviously, they're all painted or Cerakoted, and they look good. But you can see where it wears off. And those are going to be the hot spots where you're going to maybe want to put a little grease, because that's the spot where there's friction, and it's going to be metal on metal. So now in here and here, there's a little bit of carbon buildup. So that's what your brush is coming for. And you have nylon or copper. I like to use a little bit of the nylon. So I always try and use the same rag. So as you can see, now it's all nice and shiny, and the carbon is gone. Now, the more you shoot it, the more carbon is going to build up, so on and so forth. So it might take a little more scrubbing, maybe a little picking with the dental picks. If you can't get it with plastic, then obviously you're going to want to move on to the metal. Now, a little goes a long way. You don't need to saturate it. I like to put just a little in, and right in the corner, just move it around and break up anything in there that's collected, any carbon. I wipe it all down. Always look inside, make sure it's all nice and clean in there. Which one I've shot a few hundred rounds at most, so this should be a fairly quick and easy cleaning, as long as you keep up on it. If you don't clean it, then you're gonna have problems. Now you can see, like, there's a lot of grime and dirt. Now this right here is for the gas. You can always put a little CLP on the end of a Q-tip and then slide the Q-tip in just a little bit, twisting it to kind of clean it all out. I don't do it every single time. I'll do it after a few hundred rounds, more than what we actually shot. Now, up in here is where your firing pin and everything goes. So I like to look in there and see if it's dirty. This one's actually really clean. But again, you'd put a little on a Q-tip, slide the Q-tip down in there, a little CLP, and you can clean it all up. So that stuff's taken care of. So what we can do is we can assemble it now so we don't lose any of the small pieces. Okay, so we're going to start with this bad boy. You want to inspect your O-ring. It eventually will give out and you'll need to replace it. For right now, this is brand new. It's good to go. So that just goes right back in there. And you can see that it's sitting higher and it wiggles. And the hole is not aligned. So you have to squish it down. And sometimes it can be a little hard with the gloves, but put pressure on it. There you go. And you got to push it all the way in to where it's below the lip. So it's in there, it's nice and flush. Okay? So, now when reassembling, it's really simple. You really can't screw this up. You put this in, and this only goes in one way. So if you put it in upside down, it's not going to fit. You'll know. So you just take it out and spin it. But to test these rings, the easiest thing you can do is you put it in, and then you shake it. It doesn't fall out. Your O-rings are good. So now that it's in there, this goes in, just like that. And then you're going to spin it 90 degrees and pull it back up. Now you can see there's a little bit of grime right there. So I'm just going to hit that up. Yeah, it looks much, much better. Okay. So the next step, firing pin. Now you want to make sure this is all the way forward. There's different ways you can do it. It won't fit in this way, so you got to come up here. So you can slowly place it, or the quick and easy way is you just put it up here, you drop it straight down. You'll see that it goes in, put your finger in, push and lock, and the cotter pin just goes in. Okay, so now the pin's back in. Some of the things you want to look for are these two screws that are up here. Some manufacturers, such as Delta Level Defense, peen this to help lock these in. If they're not peened on either side, see these are both peened, which means they're locked in, you might want to make sure these are nice and tight. So with that back in, I like to give this a good look over, and you can see like right here, there's a wear spot. Over here, little wear spot, but this is where the metal's meeting the metal. So these spots, I like to put a little grease on them before I put them all back together. So I'm just going to put this here because that's good to go. This is clean, that's good to go. Okay. So now you pick this up. Now you don't want to take the safety off and then pull the trigger. Okay, but it helps to have this up. So what you do is you unlock the safety, put your fingers on it, pull the trigger and ease it up. Okay, and you're going to want to look inside here. I know it's hard to see. You're going to want to look inside here for any foreign objects, grease, grime, dust, carbon. The last thing though you want to be doing is throwing the CLP and stuff in there. What I like to do is I like to keep this nice and dry and clean, so I'll use regular brake cleaner, spray it inside, it breaks it all up, and then I take it outside and let it dry. But it's fairly clean. Obviously, well, that's really dirty right there, so go back and say I'm just going to clean that area. And that's about as far as I'm going to go on that. You can see that it's darker here, but that's from the Cerakote. That's not dirt. So this is the buffer tube, right? Buffer tube here. This is the weight, and behind it is the spring. You can see this is dirty, so you can wipe it down. But this does slide all the way back with the bolt carrier, so it does get dirty inside. So what you're going to want to do is with your finger, you're going to push this little pin down. So you're going to push this back, push the pin down, and having gloves on does not help. So now that I got the pin started, I'm just going to use the tool, and then the weight and the spring are going to come right out. So the spring should retain to this quite snugly to where the weight doesn't fall off. Okay. Overall, this is nice and clean. So just a quick wipe. And it's good to go. Now when it comes to cleaning the spring, some people really give it a good cleaning. I tend to just give it a good twisting. So you can always put a little bit of light oil on here if you want, or you can just put it in dry. For this, I'm just going to put it in dry. So when this goes back on, all I do is slide the weight in and then force the spring. You'll hear a click, and you want to make sure that it's retained. Eventually the spring is going to wear out. So now remember I showed you that 12 gauge, this right here. We're going to use this because it fits perfectly right into the buffer tube. So now that this is all wiped down, this has been wiped down, all you gotta do is take this, and I'll do it so you guys can see down here, right? So you slide it in, and all you do is get it aligned, and then push, and it clicks right in there, and you're good to go. So when it comes to cleaning this part, obviously if you have a optic mounted, you want to be careful not be banging it around. Put the bore snake in, and I'm going to feed the weight all the way down until it comes out. I'm going to grab it, pull the bore snake up, wrap my hand around it, get a good grip, and I'm going to pull the bore snake through and get a better grip. And I'm going to do that about 4 times. So one of the other things that I want to clean is I want to clean the flash suppressor. I'm just going to give that a quick wipe down. Good enough for government work. Okay, so now that we have everything cleaned, I'm going to use the hog grease, and I'm only going to put this on sparingly in areas where I can see metal rubs metal. So this CLP is cleaner, lubricant, and protectant. Some people might not want to do this. I like it this way. You do what you want. So I put a little in my glove, just like that. You're gonna turn this up, and you're gonna slide it in, and you're gonna send the whole thing home. And it's in there. And if you get a little oily, just wipe it down, and you're good. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. I was explaining how to put this all back together and I got a phone call. So, get your lower, pull the pins out. Okay. Take the upper, and you can do it many different ways. I am just going to put the front one in. It's locked, just like that. Then I close. Boom. Upper is now reinstalled on the lower. So, obviously the bolt carrier group is closed. So I'm going to cycle it. Make sure everything works good. Open it for safety, especially in the environment I'm in, because I have windows everywhere and people are walking by. I'm going to grab a clean microfiber cloth, and I'm going to give this a nice rub down on the outside. If it's clean and you're happy with it, because that's all that really matters, you're happy with it, then you're ready to go to range and shoot it and dirty it up again, or put it away in the safe for storage. Okay, so that's going to do it for the video. We have cleaned the other, but it cleans just like every other AR on the planet. So it's not the most exciting video on the planet, or on YouTube, I'm sure. But I appreciate you stopping by and watching it this far. Not everybody's going to clean it the same way. Like I said, there's tons of videos out there. So it's your gun. You clean it till you're happy. You know, if you like them wet and dirty, run them wet and dirty. If you like them spotless, great. Doesn't matter as long as it works when you need it to work. That's all that really matters, as long as you're happy. So, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on all the notifications, and we'll see you guys on the trail.